Drivers now working their way around turns 8 and 9. Back out in front of us here, Tony, as we get set to go back to green.
So Austin Osborne in that Tony Kart right ahead of Scott Falcone. We're getting ready to go racing 15. Jesus Robles, Luke Waller, Brian Fisher, Michael Bartholomew, Mike Manis, Richie Warren, Ronnie Price, and Bradley Smith, your top 10. They're a little bunched up here at the start-finish line as Rick Folks is going to bring them down for a single file restart here. 2 down, 6 to go. Green flag in the air, and they fan out, and we are racing. Osborne gets a great start, but Jesus Robles takes it from the inside. He was in third. Now he's to first. Great move on the inside of turn 1.
But about to lose it, I think.
He does. He's going to get a challenge from the 21. Osborne's going to take it back on the inside of 2. Let's see as they come out. Osborne back to P1. Robles to second. Robles to second. I apologize.
Great shot coming out of turn 3 over to 4. Now this is turn 5. Back to the downtown core. Working their way through here. You're right. Osborne did a real super slow start to try to see if he could stack everybody up, but Jesus really got the green and got out of the box strongly, chased him down into turn number 1, but that lower entry to the corner means he lost some exit speed, and that allowed Austin to come from the outside back to the inside and race him over to turn number 2.
And as we noted at the end, when the red flag came, that 1.2 second gap between Scott Falcone second and Jesus Robles third, of course, is negated to nothing on the restart.
That is very correct, Ken. Great start. Great opening 2 corners there. Robles and Osborne going back and forth. Osborne now has the position, and Robles is not far behind. Luke Waller also got a good start. He moved from 4th up to 3rd, and we are racing now. 5 to go in this tag senior pre-final. Great opening lap, though.
But we've lost that lovely dice at the start between 2 of them. But
I know. But you know what? It's still a Tony Kart and the Arrow going together. It's not the leader, Austin Osborne, but it's Robles and Falcone now fighting for second. So he's still got that battle as Falcone's going to try to go back to P2.
So Osborne definitely able to use that restart to check out. Now Falcone's going to look to the inside and turn around.
And he takes Robles for second place.
He does. Falcone up to P2.
Nice move to the inside of turn number 1. He timed that perfectly, tucked out, dove down to the inside, and took over. We've got an issue there for the number 41, I believe. Someone slowing coming in out of turn number 1 there.
And Brian Fisher also picked up a spot. He's advancing now up into the top 5 comfortably as he took a spot on the exit of 1 down into turn number 2. Now they head into the left-hand hairpin, turn number 6. Falcone up into second. They'll go through 7, 8, and 9 and come back out in front of us here on the start-finish straightaway to complete another lap.
Fisher was able to get by the number 91 to Luke Waller, so Waller goes back a spot, and Brian Fisher up a spot in the number 90. He goes to P4.
So only a few laps left here in this tag senior pre-final, guys, and this race, just like every other pre-final, crucially important because where you finish tonight is where you will start tomorrow in the main event, and that's what we've all traveled here for. That's what everybody's put their money down on the table, is to race in a main event on Sunday of the Lone Star Grand Prix.
You know, Tony, one of the things that we said was how things change in this. Oh, and a little contact there, but it doesn't end in tears. Michael Holder was one of the guys who we found really fast when we started looking at the action earlier today. He's way, way, way at the back of the field and just doesn't seem to find any kind of movement forward. When I last looked, he was well outside of the top 20.
Here comes a fight right now for 3rd spot. Here comes Fisher to the inside, side by side. Not quite enough.
Wow. Fisher and him ran door to door almost the entire way through that corner, and he just couldn't pull it off to get on Robles to get into the top 3.
Oh, you got to give props to Robles there. Fisher went all the way down the bottom. Robles in the number 15 wasn't going to give it up. You see them coming out of turn number 4 now, over to 5. Look at Fisher putting the pressure on Robles here.
Ooh, Robles slides wide on the exit of 5, getting into 6. Fisher is there, almost taps him, doesn't make contact, keeps it clean. They continue to race.
You know, guys, we look again.
There's the replay, folks, of Fisher all the way down to the bottom.
Wow.
And I think that pass probably would have happened on a different corner, but it's a little bit smoother on the outside, and Robles was able to get back on the power earlier.
Great racing there as we see it again. Now Fisher, that's Fisher
that's
getting
a
around.
game. That's for real.
We come back. I thought it was the instant
Yeah,
replay.
it looked that way.
That didn't look the way it happened the first time. Fisher gets around. He's now up into 3rd. He taps the back of his helmet. He tells Robles, let's work forward.
Yeah.
2 laps to go as we're getting the sticks here at the start-finish line. We'll see white flag next time by.
You know, I think that was just a little bit more commitment that time by from Fisher. He just threw that car in there and knew it, that all I have to do is roll a little more corner speed and I'll be able to hold him back. That was a beautiful pass that was set up from the one beforehand.
Yeah, and incidentally, even before that, there was some beautiful feinting. I'm going to dive in. No, I'm not. I'm going to dive in. And that is putting pressure on the guy guy in front of you.
Beautiful racing here. White flag in the air now as we're getting ready to see. We got a race for third here. It looks like Robles is going to get overtaken again. Robles to fourth.
Bartholomew able to get by him on this time here. He's going to try to pinch to the inside. Here goes Robles back in here again. Hard wreck in front of us here. But that's Bartholomew still through as we have a driver off here, as we said, in the front straightaway. That's the number 28T hard contact here on the front straightaway here.
Brian La Barbera.
So as Barbera pulls off to the inside here, he's okay. Just a few hay bales knocked out of the way. Race for the lead is over. This is the one we're watching right now, Robles, and that's the 91 of Luke Waller racing for
And there's the victory.
Victory, checkered flag flies, and the race for fourth is going to go to Robles. Waller can't get it done. Great racing. Austin Osborne picks up the win. Scott Falcone advances his position from third back up to second at the checkered flag. And then it's going to be Brian Fisher putting together two great passes to get up from fifth to third. And then let's see here. This is a replay of
look at that. That's
accident.
Bartholomew. No, that's Bartholomew to the outside of turn number 4. He got so much speed rolling out there and just caught that hay bale. Remember, he was running in the 4th position.
He was.
As he was having a great little battle there with Robles. So Bartholomew ends up falling to the tail of the field. You see that car? 360 the minute he touched the hay bales.
The hay just jumps out and grabs you sometimes, and it rips you around. So checkered flag in the air. Our first pre-final done as Austin Osborne, guys, goes pole position and then pulls away for a great run in the pre-final. He is going to start the pole. He's going to start from the pole position in tomorrow's main event. A big benefit in this 15-lap main event tomorrow.
Here come the drivers rolling in through the start-finish line again. You see they had the yellow flag flying there in the final corner number 9 for the entire last lap, because the driver here, number 28T, who made the contact, La Barbera, spun it out here right at start-finish, and has obviously really messed up the bales there a little bit, so they had the yellow to make sure everybody was going to be able to keep back there for sure. But wow, what a race that was.
Well, Rob, it was, because we had just half a second covering the first 3 of those guys. And when we had the red flag at the first attempt to run the race, we were talking about the margin by which Scott Falcone and the race leader Austin Osborne had pulled away. The rerun was nothing like that. Just, well, I said half a second, didn't I? It's 0.5 something, but
so just over
pretty
half
decent.
second.
Yeah, about 0.58 of a second.
Nonetheless, a great
0.52.
Yeah, great run there for Austin Osborne. Scott Falcone ends up in second. Brian Fisher in third, as we said. 4th position in the order. Jesus Robles and Luke Waller there in 5th. I think what we really had happen there, we know who's going to be battling for this race win right now. The 2 drivers up front look real good. But I don't think Fisher's out of the hunt either. He came on pretty strong there.
I don't either. I think Fisher's a threat, and so is Robles, if they can just get the back end of that cart to sit down.
He was second quickest, a fast time of 43.11, and there was only Austin Osborne who went quicker at 42.9. So second quickest of them all out there was the Fish.
And again, when it's a street race like this track's going to be totally different tomorrow. What is it going to be like? Is it going to be sunny? Is it going to be raining? Is it going to change everything? We don't know what it's going to be, but the simple fact is we've got 3 or 4 drivers with the speed and the ability to run up front.
I think Brian Fisher, Rob, you bring up a great point. Brian Fisher, Jesus Robles' cart seemed to go away. Ken, you and I talked about it during the break. I think something changed in that red flag, and that cart just could not settle down on the exit of corners, and he lost positions due to sliding out, not being able to carry speed. So if Robles and his team can just get that cart to settle down in the corners, Fisher, Robles, Osborne, Falcone, you've got 4 drivers, definitely more, who can definitely contend for this win tomorrow.
It's a fair point. Robles only did a quick lap of 43.9 on the restart, so that was a little margin slower than the guys around him. If he can iron out that by maybe putting something right that was maybe a little bit loose, a little bit disturbed. I did think when I saw him waving his arms there was a little bit of anxiety there, but you don't rule him out completely.
Well, we've got a great vantage point here on the exit of turn 9. It's a quick right-hander onto the front straightaway, and every time he seemed to come out, and of course on the monitors we're watching, he just seemed to slide a little bit, and that kills your exit speed if you can't keep the 4 wheels pointed in the same direction. So we'll see. They're going to go back to the pits, wrench on that cart tonight, and have a little bit of time in the morning, and we'll see what they can do with it.
And we've got things underway with the pre-finals now. We got a bunch of races still to go. We got like 9 races still to come for you here, folks, as we're going to chase the sun all the way to the Texas horizon here as we're going to wrap things up for the day.
The man of words from
painting a picture.
Rob Howden.
Painting
a word picture, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we're looking forward to a great day. There's the MG Tire Arch, folks, those of you watching here on kartracingnetwork.com. Great to have you with us. Of course, want to thank all the sponsors, and I know that the 3 of us here at the booth and the desk are really thrilled to be working with each other, and we're having an awesome time here today. We're getting set to go with 125cc modified, and I've got that one on my work list here, Tony. So let's have a look at the grid as these drivers get set to go. You already brought up the fact that Jake French has been so good here this weekend. Really just continuing the dominance he showed last year.
Absolutely.
There's something about this racetrack that Jake really likes.
He just gels. He just gels here.
Exactly right. He's in a groove here right now. He'll start on the pole position of that number 6, a 40.862 fast time in qualifying, puts Jake French on the intrepid number 6 on the inside of row number 1. Folks, those of you watching around the racetrack, here's something new for you. If you haven't been here before, you're going to see something cool. It's a Formula One style standing start. We did a rolling start with Tag Senior. These drivers are going to come down onto the grid. They're going to stop in their positions, and when they get the green flag, they're going to drop the hammer and pull away. This is something super fun to watch. If you haven't worked your way onto the front straightaway, do this one time here this weekend, because these guys rocket away. It is unbelievably cool to see these guys come off the line and rocket their way into turn number 1. It will be French starting on the pole in the number 6. He'll start alongside the number 15 T of Connor Wagner. The two Texans, 1-2. Row 2, it'll be Josh Lane, the Wild Thing, in the DR Kart number 44, starting 3rd, alongside Ryan Kinnear in the Intrepid number 14. Row 3, it'll be Brian Fisher out of Tennessee in the DRT Racing number 90, while on the outside, all the way from Bermuda, in the Burrell number 9, Scott Skitchy Barnes, starting in the 6th position. Row number 4, Coy Dayton, the veteran, in the number 32, alongside another longtime racer, Lance Lane, the father of Josh, in the number 65J. Lance going to start P8. Capping off your top 10, it's Sky Finley, the young up-and-comer, the sophomore pilot in the number 5T. Finley starting 9th, alongside Jerry Rhodes in the number 25T. Starting in the 6th row, 11th position, the number 77T is Casey Ross, and on the outside, Randall Thayer in the number 85T. Row 7, 13th and 14th. It's Robert there, the number 84, his brother Randall in the 12th position. Robert will start alongside David Brown in the number 7. Row 8, Venkat Reddy in the number 68, starting 15th, while Robert Crawford will be on the outside of row 8, starting in the 16th position. In row number 9, Harry Aiken scheduled to go in the number 07, as 17 drivers set to go here. Jason Crawford on my list here, but he did not turn a time. Unsure whether Jason will be taking the green. In addition, drivers that didn't post times, so we have them in the 21st, 23rd, and 24th spots. Bryce Cornet, Jimmy McNeil, and Tyler Fling. Unsure if those drivers are going to join us, but they are on my grid sheet, so I will give you the heads up. Otherwise, those drivers are warming up their power plants. It's the 125cc modified and ICC Pre-Final modifieds, Honda Sierra 125s, tuned to their absolute edge of horsepower, cutting edge, right on the very tip of the speed and power they can produce. And they're going to be alongside these purpose-built engines, primarily run in Europe, but also run here in the U.S. These engines called ICC or KZ power plants, built purposely for karting. They fit nicely alongside the car, making horsepower somewhere between 45 and the 50 range.
Rob and Tony, you know, looking at our monitor, that street scene we have there, doesn't that capture the street racing essence? Really, really does. And I just feel so good to be here right alongside of it. We just do not see this in England, and so pleased to be part of it. Those of you tuned into Kart Racing Network, you can see what I mean.
Absolutely. Great shots here this weekend, guys. And it really gives you that feeling. This isn't just a race. This is an event.
Yeah.
And it's like a festival. You can go to a lot of races, but you can't just go to an event every weekend, in my opinion. And that is what Rob and his team have done here. They've made a great event. They've got the community come out and support it. And this is just fun. And, gosh, I'm so glad, Ken, you're able to come here and join us this year and take part in it. It is a fun event, one of the events I look forward to most all year. And we got ICC getting ready to throw down. And see, as Rob pointed out, we're going to see our first shifter start of the weekend.
It'll be a Formula One style standing start, as we said, from the front row, the front straightaway here. And you thought that the Tag Senior drivers were rolling some speed through turn number 1. You wait to see these 125s roll in there. They got 4-wheel disc brakes, essentially 2 discs on the front and 1 on a solid axle in the back. So these things stop on a dime. They are going to rocket down to turn number 1, jab that brake, get the car rotated, and stomp back on the throttle to try to get that car to set back on the rear wheels and rocket its way to turn number 1. That's going to be a fun place to watch. There's going to be a ton of action over in turn 1.
I'll tell you what, guys, I don't know if you noticed that, but Connor Wagner is not on the front row. He had an issue. He's pulling up now. It looks like he won't affect his starting spot. He's going to make it up, it looks like, but he had an issue leaving the grid.
Now, what was
and thankfully,
that?
they haven't formed the grid boxes yet, so he'll be okay. But a scary start because had he only been about 15 or 30 more seconds, it was discussed in the race meeting. If you don't make it off the grid in time, you don't get your position back. So luckily for Connor, he's going to be able to still get to his outside row 1 starting spot.
Yeah, he was just a little slow getting off the grid. I'm not sure why that was, but he didn't get off quite as quickly as you would expect. So these drivers all come down here. They pull the clutch in. They put it into neutral. They get to their position, clutch in, knock it into first gear. And I'll tell you, folks, when they get ready to go green, they're going to stomp on the throttle, wait for that green, and just slowly let that clutch out. And you watch these things go from 0 to 60 and then back down to about 15 or 20 miles an hour when they rocket through turn number 1. Here we go, folks. Get ready to roll for our 125 modified and ICC race. Green, green, green.
Wow, what a start by Wagner.
Whole shot for Wagner. He leads into turn number 1 as he leaves French thinking, what happened? Wagner leads over into turn number 2 as well. Here we go. We're underway. French expecting to attack early. Great start as well for Josh Lane. Lane goes into 3rd position. 4th is Barnes as we're now underway.
Really not sure why Jake French dwelled as he did there. It was a great start for sure by Conor Wagner, but I did think it was a slow one by Jake French, but he is now applying the pressure. He's not in a position to make a challenge for the pass at the moment, but immediately Conor Wagner feeling the heat.
Cross the start-finish line for the first time. They'll roll their way down the back straightaway, or the front straightaway rather. Wagner still leads, but right there. Oh, look at that move for Barnes. He got tons of air coming out of 1. Got perilously close to the outside of the corner, but he still holds on to that 4th position. Wagner getting pressured aggressively here by French in the number 6, who you knew does not like to run second. French coming through 5. Does he have a look to the inside here in the hairpin? No, Wagner again takes a tighter line.
Yeah, not really close enough, was he? At the moment, Conor Wagner is in control of this. When I say control, it's control with a small c, but right at this moment, Jake French, for all his efforts, not in a position now. He's got a draft now. Does this lead to something by Jake French?
Well, again, you know, this is early in this run here. As I said, it's an 8-lapper. And these drivers can kind of take their time a little bit. They don't have to push super hard out of the box, you know, Tony. They can kind of settle in, try to stretch away. And again, French now just following Wagner, going to school to find out where he might be a little bit quicker.
Jake French is putting in great laps right now, guys, and he is right on Connor's back bumper. He tries to look to the inside right there in 5, thinks better of it, and let's be honest, Wagner is just putting together even better laps every time. 41.56 his best lap time so far, 2 laps in.
Very little in it, isn't it? 41.567, 41, was it 572?
I believe so, 572, yes.
5/1000ths. They're really much on the pace.
And they get quicker, 41.3 and 41.4 for each one of them. So you can tell that they know that they're chasing each other, and Josh Lane is right there. This is about to become a 3-kart fight for the lead.
Oh, there goes Lane to the inside, coming through Josh Lane. Book it. He's into 2nd.
Josh Lane quicker than both of them on that previous lap.
Wow, so that's going to be proof that he's a guy that if you're quick enough and he can make the moves, he's going to get around him eventually. So now Josh Lane, after getting around French or Pulsar, sets his sights on Wagner, but those two racing.
Well, of course, the beneficiary of the move is Conor Wagner, isn't it? That narrow lead is now a 10-length lead.
Just those few seconds that French and Lane spent together allows Wagner to check out now to a 5-kart length gap. Very good news for Conor Wagner.
Let's see what happens to Lane here right though. He likes this racetrack and he loves running street circuits. This bump in turn number 1 is absolutely aggressive, sending these guys 4 wheels off, but it's how you take that bump and how soon you can get back on the throttle. They're actually coming back a slower car here right now, and in fact, looks like they're all able to slide through. That slower car doing a good job staying out of the way at this point here as Lane tries to reel back in on Wagner here. Last time by, 0.124 the gap between 1st and 2nd.
Wow, he is right there. Jake French all over Josh Lane. So Lane originally set his sights on Wagner, but now he's going to have to defend from French for 2nd.
Yeah, I don't think Jake French is done here yet. He does not like running 3rd. Here we come back into turn number 1. French has a look to the inside. No.
Applying the pressure without doing anything and taking a risk. It's good driving. It's psychological driving from Jake French.
Always got to make sure your guy in front of you knows you're there.
This is a great race for 2nd right now, guys. And again, Ken, as you said, the beneficiary is definitely Conor Wagner. But as they continue to race, as you two were talking about being a strong qualifier, well, you're going to go faster in a race because you've got a target, you've got someone to chase, and this is a great chase right now.
Well, Tony, you say it's a great chase. It certainly is, because the numbers are telling us that it's 1/10 of a second quicker, Josh Lane, than the guy in front of him.
Three-driver battle up front. Here comes French back to the inside of the lane, and no, again, can't get it done. I'll tell you, though, these guys are really running hard through turn number 1. You know they're too wide every time we come through here. Every time, though, they're walking that tightrope. It is so close to the outside and those barriers and the hay bales. Man, this is really, really impressive to watch them handle turn 1.
Gosh, what great shots we're seeing right now, especially right there. I love that corner 4, or 5 rather, I guess, that right-hander before you get to the hairpin. They're just so fast. They're flat out. They're digging right there. They're letting them eat, and now they head around the courthouse going for the white flag.
White flag going to fly this time by. We're probably not going to see it unless he rolls out. White flag, 1 to go. Here they come again down the back chute. Lane starting to close up on Wagner. But again, in their minds, oh wow.
So much air.
Airborne.
Unbelievable. 4 wheels off going through that corner. But you got to remember, this is the pre-final. They don't need to go over the board here. They're going to battle like this again in the main.
If you're going to be running third and you're going to start the final on the inside of row 2.
Great position.
Great position.
But they're going to race for bragging rights here, guys. This is the open class. This is modified. Nothing about this class is calm. Only a few corners left to go here.
Final lap, folks. Checker flag waiting at the line for our winner here, and it's going to go. The victor is Connor Wagner. He scores the win by about over a tenth of a second from Josh Lane. Jake French ends up in third. Couple guys
Josh
together.
Lane. That's Lance Lane around.
Lance Lane spins. Sky Finley gets into him. They're going to drop down the order here right now.
Lance Lane and Sky Finley were running 6th and 7th, were they? 5th and 6th?
Hey, Lance had spun around after making contact in 9, and Sky did everything he could to avoid him and just clipped Lance just a little bit. Sky's going to push his cart across the finish line. He's going to get back in and try to fire it up.
No, he's going to lose a couple more spots.
He just can't get it. Well, Sky Finley finishing the race like you're taught to do every time. So he pushes across, and Lance Lane, put his hands up in the air, let everyone know to avoid him. No further contact, but the race is going to end under a caution. Boy, but how about that race between the top 3 guys? Connor Wagner holds off Josh Lane and Jake French. What a race. The main event's going to be epic.